Yo, yo, what's going on, everybody? Happy Sunday. Sunday fun day. Let's get it, let's get it, let's get it. It's about that time, man. It's about that time. Let's get it, let's get it, let's get it. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Hope everybody had a great week last week. Unfortunately, last week was a little bit shaky for me, but covered the journal this weekend. We're ready to get to it. Get to it, get to it. Welcome, 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 everybody. What's good, Steadfast? My man's #1 again. He held that #1 spot for like 2 or 3 weeks one time. Jaden, KC, Carlos, Francisco, Simone, Nelson, John, Continuous Growth, Cherry, Brandon, T, Rhea, Jizzle. What's good, everybody? Pascal, AR from the BR. Let's go, let's go, let's go. It's about that time, man. We got a big night ahead of us. We got a big week ahead of us, to be honest. And yeah, man, I'm excited for it. Very, very excited for it. See a few nice setups here I like overnight. So if we get the opportunity, I will take it with you guys. So we'll keep an eye on these charts, see if we can catch a nice future setup into the morning. And yeah, man, let's get it, let's get it, let's get it. Alrighty, y'all. Let me go ahead and make this screen bigger for you guys. For anybody that's new here, the way that we pretty much glide through these lives, we're going to go over the economic calendar first. Make sure you guys are up to date with the data going into the week ahead. Earnings are pretty interesting this week with NVIDIA being the star of the show, so we'll talk about that for a little bit. And then we will get into the watch list. As you guys can see down at the bottom where it says smash that like button. Every time that gets filled up, that's a giveaway for you guys at the end. So, yeah, man. Everybody's good to go. I'm good to go. Let's do the damn thing, man. What's up, Vanessa, TJ, Clout? What's up, man? All right, here we go. Let's get into the economic calendar for the week ahead. Excuse Turbo back there. He's got a bag he's playing with, and if it bothers you guys, I'll take it away from him. It's starting to bother me, so I'm probably going to take it away from him. But, yeah. Turbo, what are you doing? Get down. Come on. My man gets those grocery bags and has a fucking field day with him. Alrighty, y'all. Let's get it, let's get it, let's get it. We are going into the week of November 18th. Monday will be November 18th. Monday, we're pretty much good to go here. Nothing of importance. Tuesday, a couple little data points here at 8:30. Building permits, housing starts, nothing significant. Wednesday, November 20th, nothing real significant here. Fed speaker, which is about 12:15. Never really see anything outside of J. Powell, but keep an eye on that if you want to. Thursday is where the real data starts here. We have jobless claims as always, Thursday, November 21st, followed by PMI, which could be at 8:30 as well. Lastly here, we have existing home sales at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So this week, Thursday is going to be a real big data day here. Outside of that, not much going on. Besides Friday, November 22nd, we have PMI again, which is going to be at 9:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then, of course, we have consumer sentiment at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're good to go. Nothing really crazy going on there. Thursday and Friday, we do have a little bit of data. Nothing to, write home about. But, yeah, I'm very excited about it because the past few weeks have been catalyst everywhere. FOMC, the election, CPI, PPI. So we've had to duck and dodge all of this data. Couldn't really swing confidently. So I'm very happy that this week the data is a lot tamer, giving us the ability to just focus on the chart versus having to duck and dodge that data. So this week I'll be very happy swinging if we get the opportunity. And yeah, man, let's get into these charts. Before we do, I do want to talk about this earnings for the week ahead. We do have some interesting earnings coming up. I'm really liking NQ as well. I'm watching this on my other screen, see if we can get some opportunity here for a future setup here in a minute. But this is the earnings calendar for this week, November 18th. Monday, nothing really crazy here. A couple little weird names reporting. Tuesday morning, we have an interesting name, which is Walmart. We also have Lowe's, very fun name to trade post earnings. Tuesday after hours, nothing really significant. Wednesday pre-market, we have Neo. Neo sometimes is a good, fun one to trade. Target also pre-market Wednesday. A couple other names throughout here, retail names. The big one of the week though is going to be Nvidia. Nvidia. That is going to be Wednesday after hours. And we also have Snow right there with Nvidia. So going into Thursday, we have a couple nice post-earning setups here if we can get one of these to move, being Nvidia, Neo, Target, Snow, even Palo Alto, which is a fun one to trade for sure. And then a Thursday, a couple more names here, mostly retail names throughout this week. But these are the big ones that I'm paying attention to. Number one, obviously, being Walmart. Sometimes Walmart is a fun one to trade post-earnings. Lowe's, fun one to trade. Nvidia, very fun. Neo, Target, Snow, Palo Alto. So we got 3, 4, 5, 6 different potential post-earning setups this week, with the main focus being Nvidia here. This is the numero uno for me. This is the one I'm super focused on, and it'll definitely help the overall market, right? Nvidia's had the biggest market cap for some time right there with Apple. And yeah, man, it's absolutely crazy. So Nvidia is going to be a big one this week. And of course, we got Snow falling behind it, Palo Alto, and those other names I mentioned. So we got quite a few little post-earning setups here, Nvidia being the star of the show. So definitely excited about that. Let's get into these charts though. Kicking it off, let's start with NQ here since we're already on it. We have a bunch to really digest here, right? I kind of want to take a step back tonight and really just focus on the big picture, not just the big picture, but midterm and short term, and really what to expect from the market in just terms of overall sentiment and structure, looking at it from a pure chart standpoint, not what's going on in the world, not what's going on with the election, not just anything, just a pure chart standpoint. And while we're going through NQ here, I do want to keep an eye on this setup. I really like for a short opportunity here if we can get it. Going into this session here, I really like this downtrend entry if we can get it. I'll talk about it here in a moment. But here we are. This is NQ. This is the monthly time frame. I want to talk about a couple things here, right? If you just zoom out from a macro picture, I mean, look at the chart, right? It's just absolutely parabolic. So we got that, right? That's the first thing. Understanding that the macro trend is very bullish, 100%, right? Very, very bullish. But if we're going back to just this highlighted area here, right? I want to talk about this highlighted area. We've had some very interesting moments in this bull market, right? Which we can consider a bull market. It's been going on 2 years now. Now, inside of this square, I want to focus on this area here specifically, right? There's a lot to digest here, right? We made that initial high, 15% pullback, followed by a 20% rip right after that 15% pullback. So we've had a lot going on in this smaller square here. Now, with that being said, I want to go down to even a smaller time frame here, or not time frame, little zone, right, where we're currently trading, right? Between this area here is where I really want to focus on, to where we can look at it and say, hey, we had a pullback, we held that demand, but now let's focus on what's going on up here in terms of the monthly time frame. We just wicked above those previous all-time highs and failed them into Friday. Right? That is what we've seen into Friday, right? We failed these previous all-time highs. Now, what importance does this have? Now, at this moment, it doesn't really mean much, right? Because obviously it's 11/17. We got about 14 days, 13 days left in a month. I want to talk about a scenario, a couple of scenarios with this monthly chart, right? As of right now, this is a double top. This is a failure to go higher. This is a bearish indication, right? When you have a sweep of liquidity, some like to call it, I like to call it just a failure to go higher, right? Where a stock attempted to go higher and it failed, right? Not only did it fail, but it's back below that previous month's low. So we swept that previous all-time highs, pretty much given back over 60% of this current monthly push, and we're back below that previous month low. This is a bearish indication, right? This is not a bearish chart. This is not a bearish reversal, but this is a bearish indication. When you have a failure to go higher and you have a chart here where it's giving back 60% of that monthly time frame, right? That's huge, and we're back below that previous month's high. This can get tricky, right? So what I would want to see for a bearish case here on NQ is if we can close out November here back below this 2750, I would consider that pretty bearish, right? We would then have failed those highs, had that sweep, close back below that previous month's low, and would leave this with a big pin bar here, right? So that's a scenario I'm looking for. A bullish case, we need to fill this back out, right? We need to fill this back out. That's the bullish case. We need to fill this back out. If not, it's very concerning, right? Very concerning. But we're going down here on a weekly time frame. Right, a weekly time frame where we can digest this chart a lot easier because the data is obviously a lot less condensed. We have a lot more data available to us. You're going to get that same read, right? You're going to get that same read as we did on the monthly time frame where we swept that previous all-time high resistance, right? Attempted to go higher and we failed it, right? That's the big cue here. This is the big point we're playing off of this week, and we failed that previous high. Right, so that's what we're kind of looking at here. We got that failure to go higher. You know, this is not a chart I'm overly excited to be long on. Right, I'm not. Is the overall trend bullish? Yes. Am I saying I'm bearish? No. I'm just saying that we have those boxes checked off in terms of a bearish reversal, the indication of a bearish reversal, which is that failure to go higher. Then you have the weekly time frame here where we actually have a form of confirmation. Right, where we failed that previous all-time high resistance, swept. To go even further here, I don't feel like a lot of people pay attention to the details they need to pay attention to. These charts are like a book. They're like a story, right? You just got to know how to read them. If you decipher and break down these past 3 weeks, there's a lot of data here for you to use to your advantage trading into the upcoming sessions, which is obviously the sweep of previous all-time highs. Not just the sweep of previous all-time highs, but a sweep of that previous week's high, resulting in a failure and a weak closure back below the previous week's low after coming off the election and FOMC, right? I feel like a lot of people were bullish after FOMC, after the election, rightfully so, right? Trump market has always been fairly bullish. But when you have a scenario like this and that selling starts to step in, now people start to panic, right? People start to panic. Longs start to sell their positions. That's selling pressure for themselves. Say, for example, like Friday, the dip just doesn't get bought, right? So it's very important to keep these higher time frames in the front of your mind, especially when it comes to those lower time frames and you get those dead cat bounces or little scenarios to where you think we're bullish again and you still have a big scenario playing like this on a higher time frame. Like this monthly chart and this weekly chart, this might not play out tomorrow. This might not play out next week, right? We still have 14 days left in a month. This could be 2 weeks, 3 weeks out from now when we start to see this actually play out. And a lot of people forget that, right? So just keep in mind these are higher time frames. But if we go down to the daily, you're going to get even a prettier picture painted than that, right? Like if you look at it from a daily standpoint here, there's a couple things to note, right? We had that monthly failure to go higher, going into the weekly, confluence is there, going down to the daily, we still have the same chart here, right? But the daily, a lot of things are going to change here, right? A lot of things are going to change, which I want to talk about right now. So if you look at the daily, right, obviously we still have that failure to go higher, and to go even further, we formed that perfect bull flag up here above those previous all-time highs, which in myself, I was fairly bullish on that, right? So when this bull flag failed, I was a little bit surprised. So imagine how everyone else felt, right? And that's when you get that systematic selling because everybody's so bullish to end up, getting stopped out, selling pressured furthers, and you see that significant downside. So the same chart here is the weekly and daily. We got that failure to go higher, that sweep, and now we're kind of just back in this no man's land here, right? But it's important to note that pretty much every pop we've had, right, has been accompanied with no volume. But what do you notice with that sell we had last week? It's accompanied with volume through and through, right? We had rising volume that whole week, right? That whole week here, we had selling pressure increasing, right? So that's something to take note of as well. Again, I'm not bearish. I'm just simply analyzing the chart and translating it to you guys from my perspective, right? But when it comes down to the daily here, this is where we get a little bit of conflict, right? A little bit of conflict comes in to what have we seen previously, right? What have we seen previously? We've been trading in this rising wedge for some time, right? You have the starting points here, you have the connecting points, then obviously you can see what has happened every single time after that, whether it's the upper trend line or lower trend line. We've held it, we've ripped, we rejected it, we dipped, right? And right now is kind of where we're at that dip point, right? There's going to be a point where this no longer holds, right? We've seen it obviously after the connector. We've seen it hold here, which caused an all-time high push, right? We've seen a rejection here, which obviously caused the same dip back into that lower trend line. So eventually, one of these is going to break, right? One of these is going to break. So we're kind of just back into that scenario where it's like, all right, this is the last line of defense. This is the line of sand, which why I was saying that on Friday, right? It's just too early to confidently say, hey, we're going back to all-time highs, or hey, we're going to, blow the bottom out, right? It's just too early to say at this moment. But it's important to note these key details that the chart is giving us going into the upcoming trading week. You can't be bearish into a demand like this, right? You can't. And going down even further, if you want to get down to the hourly time frame, you just can't be bearish into a significant demand like this. So yes, we were weak, obviously, throughout last week's session. And if you even want to decipher that, it was beautiful, right? Where did we go short? We went short here off 21,250, right? We literally caught almost 90% of this move, which was over a 700-point move, right? That was huge. And the criteria was there, right? Where we had a failure at 21,350, formed those lower highs through and through, right? We broke that structure, put in that lower low, and you guys can see that that selling was very aggressive. But now we're down into this demand here, and this is where the big question mark comes in. Because what's going to happen from here is, obviously, this is a lower time frame. I talked about this on Friday on my Instagram story, where this is an hourly downtrend, right? As of right now, we have our high, we have lower high, swept that structure. Now we have a lower low. Now the question is, right, from here, do we either push back into this supply here, reject, put another lower high, and then we trade lower, right? Is that the scenario we're looking for? Right? Or what are we looking for here? Are we going to pull back? Are we going to put in a higher low? And then are we going to start trending back into all-time highs? Right? What's the scenario here we're looking for? It's just too early. So that's why I was talking about the monthly, the weekly, and the daily, having that indication of a bearish reversal. But then you get down here to these lower time frames. That's where the complex steps in. So it's a tricky week, right? It's a tricky week. But these levels here are to guide us through a trading week. So first things first, what I want to talk about is this major supply, right? This major supply comes from those previous all-time highs, right? If you go look back here, 2,800 to 2,825, this is that previous all-time high resistance that was broken, held as support, and now we're back below it again. So a scenario we're looking for this week is where that lower high is going to come in at, or if it's going to come in at all, right? Because as of right now in this after-hour session, we're very strong, right? From the open tonight, we're already up almost a whole percent on the NASDAQ, which is almost a 200-point move, 160-point move. This is not normal strength, right? So what we're seeing right now, it could be indicative of just a dip, right? To where this becomes a higher low and we're at new all-time highs next week, right? That could be a scenario, but it's just obviously too early to tell. What we need to be watching is, one, that supply, 2,800, 2,825. If we push back into the supply here, that's what I want to keep an eye on, right? We push back into the supply. This area I want to watch for a reject, right? This is the main area I want to watch for a reject. Higher risk level I want to watch this 2,700, right? For very valid reason, right? Very valid reason. Why am I looking for a reject here, right? Look at the chart, right? I'm just simply trading what I'm seeing. And I'm also open to a long position, right? I'm very open to it. Say, for example, we pull back 2,500, this 2,400 area off of this macro demand and this trend line support. I'm open to another long position, right? I am. Or say, for example, tomorrow we get strong. We hold this 2,600, reclaim 2,700, build above that 2,800. I'm game, right? I'm game. But the big levels you need to be paying attention to are this 2,800. If we can get up at this 2,800 area, I think a reject here is very, very valid. If we break 2,800, next big level is at 2,880, and then back into this 2,100. 2,100 is where we can confidently look to take a short position off of that macro structure. But you can trade in between of these levels. That's the whole game plan, right? Find a major level of demand, find that base, go long into the next resistance. We break that resistance, move your stop up, or go long above that resistance into the next resistance, right? That's the whole game plan here. Same thing with going short. Find a major support, breaks that support, go short, down into the next support. Next support. That's all we're doing. We're trading level to level, support to resistance, resistance to support. So it's very important to pay attention to these type of levels, so that way you can trade, right? If I didn't have any levels on my chart, I wouldn't know what the fuck is going on, because I don't know where what is, where when is, like I don't know anything, right? So that's what I'm watching here on the NASDAQ NQ. Beautiful levels, right? Very, very beautiful levels. We just gotta obviously wait for that opportunity, right? That opportunity. So, I mean, even tonight, what I would watch for is a few things. If you're talking about scalp territory, right? We just broke a nice little structure here, which is at 2590. 2590 is very likely to get us back into this 2700, which that 2700 is what I spoke about for a reject. So if you trade futures, I think that's still a great setup. 2590 as a reference back into 2700, or if we fail that 2590, look for that down in that 2500, and you can look for a long there. Same scenarios, right? Level to level, find your risk, rock out. But that's what I'm watching on NQ. We're going to move into ES now. Totally different chart here, but similar story, right? If we're looking at the big picture here, right, macro picture, so to say, is we're bullish, right? That there's no way to not see that, right? Stevie Wonder can see we're bullish. But when you go down to where we're currently trading and just decipher these last couple months, right? One, it's pure low volume. There's nothing exciting here on the monthly in terms of volume, which the monthly in general is hard to move in terms of volume. So when you have volume here, it's important. When you don't have volume here, it's important. If it's just normal, it's okay, right? So if you look at a normal trading period, which was obviously that 2022 bottom, 2023 low, that's normal. But we have a abnormal low volume on these new all-time high pushes. What I want to talk about though is these last few months. Specifically this current month in November, right? We pushed into all-time high here, finally tested that big old 6,000 level everybody has been talking about, including me, right? If you guys remember, back when we were at 5,000, my bullish target before end of year was 6,000. Now, did I hold a swing or anything like that? No, I didn't. That was just a bullish target purely based off of the fact of a psychological level, right? But going back, right, we have this current month's bar, which we're now back below that previous month's high. It's not good, right? Like I said, we have about 13, 14 days left in this month. If we close out this month back below that 5,900, forming a bearish pin bar here, that's not a very nice bullish note, right? In fact, that's a bearish note. If we close below 5,900 this month, we, first of all, let's pay attention to the previous month. We had an aggressive sell through that month, closed fairly weak. Election and FOMC gave us a pop through those highs, putting in a new all-time high here. Now we pretty much given back over 50% of this current push, bringing us back below that previous month low. So if we close weak on here, right, that'll form that 3 bar, right? To where if we get below that previous month's low, that's where that systematic selling happens, and we'll likely see that 5,000. But obviously right now, it's just too early, right? This monthly candle is still developing. From a weekly standpoint, right, everything's still intact, right? A weekly standpoint, everything's intact. We have our higher highs, we have our higher lows. This is a very bullish chart through and through. But it's important to note what happened last week. We had that pullback, the nice little bull flag, formed a higher low here, pushed through those all-time highs. We closed extremely strong from FOMC and election. What happened last week? We swept those highs, right? We attempted to go higher here, and we failed. We've seen significant weakness, putting us back below those previous all-time highs, which is at 5,900 or 5,920, excuse me. And if you go to the daily chart, this is where you're going to come up with a failure to go higher, right? Where we have those previous all-time highs, and we simply failed them, right? We had that bull flag. Everybody was super bullish, including me for a moment. And then obviously we had that failure. That failure was also accompanied with rising volume, which supports a strength, it supports the strength behind a move, right? So that selling last week wasn't just a bozo selling, right? That was for a reason, right? But as you guys can see, we're kind of just back in no man's land, right? We're back in no man's land. This hourly chart is a full-blown downtrend, right? Full-blown downtrend. Monthly, obviously strong. Weekly, obviously strong. Daily, obviously strong. But this hourly chart isn't a full-blown downtrend. We have our high. We have our lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower low, lower low. Sweep of structure. This is a bearish chart at the moment. So we need to be trading accordingly. But we also need to keep in mind those higher time frames where that structure is bullish. So what we need to be paying attention to here on ES is a few things, right? 5,900 is a big reference we can use in terms of long positions. If we pull back, start to hold, and move back into 5,930 is very likely. 5,930 is the first level I want to watch for a reject, with the main area being this 5,950, 5,960 area for a rejection. If the market continues to see weakness below this 5870, it's lights out. Below 5870, next big levels down here at 5800. That's where we'll really see that systematic selling if we take out that 5870 level. Now, you guys know I always like to keep you prepared in all aspects. If we reclaim 5960, that's where we can confidently say, hey, okay, we now have reclaimed that previous higher low and that lower high. We can look for a long position back at that 5980, 5600, and that 6000 level. That would be the ultimate target there, back into that 6000 if we reclaim that 5960, which would also flip that structure on that hourly chart. So, beautiful, beautiful chart here. Those are the big levels we need to be watching. And yeah, man, since we're talking about ES, let's go ahead and hop into SPY. And we'll call it a night. Excuse me, not call it a night. We'll get into the individual watch list. Damn, I must be ready to go. I know a lot of you guys like following along with SPY and QQQ, so I'll give you guys a second. Let me know when you're ready, and we'll rock out. Let me know when you guys are ready, and we will rock out. Just drop a ready in the chat. Whoops, can you guys hear now? Everybody good? My bad. I accidentally pressed the top of my thing. I didn't say much. I literally didn't say much. So, didn't. And that's this fucking mic, man. I moved my hand and I touched the top of it. Can you guys hear? Awesome. Cool. Let's get it. So, what I was saying is where we rejected from, right? You guys can see we rejected from this massive rising wedge, trendline resistance for the fourth time. Now, an important note along with that trendline resistance is at 600 psychological level. That's a major rejection, right? You know how many people were long above 600 that got trapped and had to sell their position, which was furthering that downside move we've seen on Friday and Thursday? That's huge. So going into this week's trading session, there's a few things that we need to be paying attention to where all eyes need to be on it, right? One is those previous all-time highs, 584.50, 586. This is this major demand, right? We essentially just closed back into this major demand here on Friday. Now, what I want to talk about with that downside move is look at the volume, right? Look at the volume. That's huge, right? That's huge after that 600 failure, that trendline rejection. In terms of downside, this is what we want to see, right? It's too early to say, hey, I'm comfortable swinging puts, but damn if it doesn't look good, right? 600 rejection, trendline rejection, weakness, volume. It looks good for a lot lower. But what we need to be paying attention to is that 583 level. So for SPY, what we're watching on this week ahead is first things first. If we hold this demand and push back into 590, 594, this is where I'm watching for a rejection. I know it's a wide area. Watch that 590 level as a higher risk entry, 594 being the main watch off that previous structure. Now, let's say we just immediately sell off. We get back below 583. I'm very interested in a short position for that gap fill down into 580 and 576.50. 575.50 is the ultimate target at the bottom of that gap fill. If we break that 575, that 570, 568 is pretty imminent down here at this massive structure. Now, as always, I'd like to keep you guys prepared in all aspects. The bullish case here. Let's say we hold this demand, right? Hold this demand, get strong, back above 590, very likely to squeeze in at 594. 594 is the structure. Get back above 594, that's where we can confidently say, okay, well, we reclaimed that lower high, now we're back into all-time highs at 600. So the big levels to watch this week, 583 to the downside, 590, 594, and 576.50. Very, very simple. Very, very simple. Absolutely love this rejection here, 590 or 594 after that weakness through Thursday and Friday. QQQ, obviously similar chart as NQ here, closed back into that macro demand, right? You guys can see here we have this beautiful rising wedge, rejected the top of it last week for the third touch. Now we're just back into this demand here, testing this trendline support and this bottom of this demand here from that gap fill, 492.80, 494, right? You guys can see here we closed back into a major demand. But again, let's note the facts of this chart, right? We just rejected that trendline resistance from that rising wedge. Rising wedge is a bearish pattern, right? It is, right? Especially in this context, right? Downside move. We had a gap down, weakness, followed by a gap down with continuous rising volume. That in itself speaks volumes, right? Like I said, this chart on QQQ looks amazing for a lot lower, right? A lot lower. We failed that previous month's high, failed those previous all-time highs. Nice rising volume, multiple gaps down, swept that structure. This looks great for lower, but there's one thing holding us up, and that's that trend line support. So going into the week ahead, what we really need to be paying attention to is this 494, 493 area. This is all eyes on deck. This is the line in the sand. This is everything we need to be paying attention to. 493, 494. If we start to hold this area, we pull back. It is valid for a long entry, right? Very likely we see a move back at that 500, 501, which is where we can look for a reject back down into that 498, 494. The main watch is going to be back below that 494. That's where we can confidently look to get short, back down into 590 and then 485, right? 485 is the ultimate level, right? This is the major level. If we get below 485, it's out of here. Low 460s is my target, right? If we break 485, say goodbye. That's it. It's over. Now, bullish case. We hold 494, push into 500, reclaim 500. If we reclaim 501, that's it. Move back into 503.50, 506, and we're very likely to get back up into that 510 level, which is the only other area I would look for a reject. If we somehow get strong enough to get back up in this 508, 510, that's where I'll confidently put on a size for a reject. I love that 508, 510 off of that previous structure here for a rejection. So first watch be 500, 501 for a reject. Main watch 510, 508. Obviously it's a ways away, but it's very possible for us to get back up there and see a nasty V-shaped reversal. Levels are in play. Watch them, trade them. It's the name of the game. And yeah, man, that's what I'm watching on QQQ. See what else we got here. See what else we got here. Let's see. Let's get into these individual names. First things first, Tesla. Absolutely love this chart. Going from a monthly standpoint, absolutely beautiful. Weekly standpoint, absolutely beautiful. I mean, just look at this chart. We've cleared every massive resistance we possibly have. 300 level, cleared it. Next structure, 315, cleared it. Next resistance on Tesla's 380. So long as this 300, 315 holds, I'm looking for longs on Tesla back into 380. That's my target. 300 fails, I'll shift my perspective. But long as Tesla's above that 300, I think this looks amazing for higher. Same thing we've seen down here, we're seeing again. What do we see on Tesla? Seeing a massive rip. What do we see after that massive rip? An exhausted descending wedge. What do you see here? Massive rip followed by an exhausting descending wedge. Right? Very, very similar structure, setup, expansion, consolidation as we've seen previously. This is a beautiful chart on Tesla. What I want to watch here is two things, right? First things first, if Tesla pulls back, we can watch this 300, 305 area for a demand bounce back into 315. On the flip side, if Tesla shows strength as it did on Friday, held up extremely strong, right? You guys know I was all over Tesla on Friday looking for longs due to its relative strength, which we'll talk about in a minute. But if we can get back above 324 on Tesla, I think this is going to go absolutely parabolic at 334 back into that 350. So top watch on Tesla, 300, 305 for a bounce or above that 325 for a long position. And that's what I love here. Now, a ton of you guys asked me on Friday, why did I like Tesla long? Why was I looking for longs on Tesla? How did I know Tesla was going to be strong? Look at this chart. Let's take a quick look here. It's a free game for everybody. Pay attention to this pre-market action. What do we see on Tesla pre-market on Friday? Right? Gap down into this demand. Context for a reversal is there. Not just us holding that demand. Look at the pre-market action. Tesla was trading higher all pre-market. Awesome. Noted. Let's go look at SPY. What was SPY doing pre-market? SPY gap down. Not only did SPY gap down, SPY sold off aggressively off the open. Let's take a look back at Tesla. What did Tesla do off the open? Popped. Pre-market. Popped. Already an outperformer. QQQ. What did you see? Pre-market. Trading lower after a gap down. Market open. Weakness. Severe weakness. Again, going back to Tesla. What did you see? Nice strength. Pre-market and market open. Being a clear outperformer and showing great relative strength. That's how I knew Tesla was going to be strong on Friday. Next here, we have AMD. AMD is a top watch for the week ahead for very valid reason. It's been pretty much the only weak link, right? NVIDIA's traded higher. AMD has been the weak link, right? I was going to say weak bitch, but we'll call it a weak link for Lisa Sue. I apologize. Anyway, right? Monthly chart here, in my opinion, I would consider this just a massive flag, right? In my opinion, this is just a massive flag. And I think there is going to be a point where AMD pulls back into this demand at 120, 110, and it's going to be extremely valid for a swing, right? If AMD can pull back into this 120, 125 area, I am game for a long-term pickup, right? I am game for a swing, 100%, right? But as of right now, this chart is very weak, right? We can all see that, right? We can all see that. This is a beautiful chart. Love it, right? Love it, love it, love it. Weekly chart, what do you notice here? Have that high, lower high, swept that previous low, put in a new lower low, and now here we're working on that lower low again after that earnings sell-off. So what we need to be paying attention to on AMD is, first things first, we're getting extended. There's no doubt about that, right? If you look at this daily chart, we have a nice little established downtrend here, but we're still holding that macro demand. So on AMD, I kind of want to be a little cautious here. There's a few things I like. I posted the main watches on obviously my Sunday watch list, but I'm going to cover the higher risk watches here for you guys as well. First things first, if AMD can push back into supply here, 139, 141, this is where I'm interested for a reject of this massive supply. On the flip side, right, you guys can see we have a massive demand here on AMD at 132, which is that previous structure from back in September. If we can pull back at a 132, 131, I love this for a demand bounce back into that 139. So either way this goes, I'm super happy about it. And even if we break this 132, AMD breaks this 132, 131, and we get weak below it, this is lights out down into that 120 level. So regardless, I think long as AMD doesn't consolidate this week, it's going to have some nice value here to trade, and I definitely want to be a part of it. So keep that watch on AMD. Next here we have, let's see. Amazon. I'm trying to go in order. Weekly chart, I don't love on Amazon, but it's not the worst, right? We held that previous all-time high resistance, which all that matters. Daily standpoint here, this is just a beautiful break and retest. Right, you guys can see here, we pull back to this macro demand here, 200, 202, nice little bottom wick here off of Friday's session. Increasing volume, not too concerned about it, but the big watch here on Amazon is that 200, 201.50 area. This is that macro demand, previous all-time highs. This is him. This is all eyes on this 200, 201 area. So what I'm watching on Amazon is if we hold this area, I am interested in a long position back into that 206. Keep an eye on this 206 level because this is a major supply. If we fail this 206, that's not good. That puts in a lower high and puts us at risk for tagging this 200 and breaking it. So keep an eye on that 206. All right. If we push in that 206, this is the pivot. Amazon's either going to reject here back into that 200, or if we reclaim that 206, it's very valid for a long position back into 210, 213. So the big levels this watch this week on Amazon is that 200 level. If we get below it, shorts are valid. If we hold it, longs are valid back into that 206. Get back above 206, long back into that 210, 212. Very simple here. Big levels to watch, 206, 200. Keep it very simple. Very simple. Very simple. Next, we have Meta here. Absolutely love Meta. Meta, we have a beautiful. Let's take a look here at Meta. Let's go all the way out to the monthly time frame. If you look at the monthly on Meta, right? I think it's Meta's time to take a breather, right? Take a breather. If you look at the monthly here, we have a rounding, right, where we have a high, attempting to go higher, failed, attempting to go higher, failed. So we got like a little triple top here. And if you look at the weekly, that's going to translate to a triple top. If you go to the daily, it's going to translate to a triple top, right? And that comes from obviously experience. Looking at these charts over time, you'll be able to recognize those higher time frame candlestick patterns into lower time frame chart patterns. So if you look at this weekly here for Meta, we've attempted to go higher on 3 different examples and failed each and every time. Last week, we closed a beautiful bearish engulfing with rising volume, essentially that whole range we've been trading in for the past 5 or 6 weeks. That's huge, right? And if you go down to the daily, that's going to be that triple top I was talking about. 1 top, 2 top, 3 top, and we closed below that massive structure on Friday. Except there's one thing holding us up here, and that's that 540, 543 area on Meta, which is those previous all-time highs. This is all eyes on deck here for this 540, 543. What I want to watch this week on Meta is that area, right? Is that area. If the market gets strong, Meta gets strong, pull back into this 543, 540 area, that's where I want to look for a demand bounce on Meta. If we can break that 543, 540 area, I'm very happy going short down to this 530. So the big level to watch this week on Meta is that 543, 546 area. If we hold this area, very valid for a long position. If we fail it, very valid for a short position down to that 530. This is even swing worthy if we start to build nice here. So keep this on a big watch. Next, we have coin here. Very valid reason. Crypto's been absolutely blowing the top off. Coins loved every second of it. Up 130% in the past month. It's getting a bit extended, but I still love this chart. Closed above that massive structure on the weekly and daily here. 275, 280. Starting to build very nice. Had that daily pullback last week into that previous resistance, which is now a support. So we now have put in another higher low here after that initial expansion into new all-time highs. Excuse me, not new all-time highs, new highs here on coin. So I like the way that this chart is structured. I think we could definitely see a lot higher here in a few different ways, right? So first things first is looking for that demand bounce as we've seen previously here. Pull back into that 290, 280 area for demand bounce on coin, or just simply looking for a long entry above that 300, back in that 320, 355. I think that move is very doable after that pullback on Friday. So yeah, that's what I'm watching there on coin. Looks very good. Now, a couple other things I want to cover here. That's pretty much what I'm watching for the week ahead. We've covered ES, we've covered NQ, we've covered Tesla, AMD, Meta, Amazon, and Coin. I have a few swings I want to cover, and I also want to cover RTY, which is IWM. We closed back into that massive demand. I swung this from Friday. I could be very wrong on this trade, but it's just a too beautiful of a setup not to test. It's just a classic daily break and retest. You guys can see massive resistance, which we retested on Friday as support. It's just a beautiful chart. If you go look at that IWM, it's even prettier. I mean, just have a look at it, right? Have a look at it. It's beautiful. Previous resistance, retested as support on Friday. Nice hold of that resistance turn support. So, my opinion, right? Long as we hold this 227.50, 228.50 on IWM, it's valid for a long position back into this 235, where we can then look to get short off that massive supply. And that would be the game plan on IWM for the week ahead. What I want to do now is cover these other names. Affirm. This fucking slipped by me, man. I don't know what happened last week, but we've been watching this for so long. Hopefully some of you guys caught it. We covered this on last Sunday Live. We covered this setup. We had this macro resistance here at 51.75, which we've essentially been pinned below for the past 2 years. Last week, Affirm broke out of that resistance and even retested it, presenting a beautiful long entry. And I missed it. You guys can see here, we cracked that 51.75, formed a beautiful bull flag. We even got the confirmation to enter, right? This is the A+ scenario. Right, if you guys want to know what an A+ swing looks like, you have a macro resistance, as I just discussed with this 51.75, 52 level. That's the first things first. You have a level, you have a structure. That massive resistance was broken, now it's support. We pulled back, right? We tested it. We held it. We formed a bullish engulfing and closed strong on the daily. That's when you enter a swing. Level, price action confirms, candle closure, enter, A+ swing. So, I got a little FOMO here, and we're going to have to find us a chase entry. So, with the firm, what I'm watching, right? I'm probably going to pick up some equity Monday, but I would be happy with any type of pullback. So if a firm can pull back into 55, 54, I'm going to take an entry, right? My stop in this case can be below 51. That is my stop here on a firm. I love this long as we're above 51.50, 52. As long as we're above this area, I am very happy being long on a firm. You guys can see this is a beautiful bull flag, macro break and retest. This is beautiful, right? I mean, just look at this chart. We've been pinned below this 52 level for literally 2 years. Next resistance on a firm is up here at 83. This chart has nothing but room to run. If I get stopped out on this trade, I will do it happily. Take my money. Take my money. I hope I get stopped out. It's a beautiful setup. I'll take it 100 times over. This is one chart I love for the week ahead for a swing trade. As long as we're above that 52, hold, right? Targets 60 first trim, second trim 70, third trim 80. I think this chart can go absolutely parabolic for every valid reason in the world, right? Every valid reason in this world that I just showed you guys. So that's my top swing watch. Couple people are gonna call me crazy, right? Couple people are gonna call me crazy. That's fine. SMCI. There's two things that are gonna happen here, right? Rumors of delisting. They kind of stat padded a little bit on their earnings. Got it. Cool. We're back into a major demand here. 17.25, right? Just fill this daily gap. We're down 70% in the past pretty much 2 months. This is a high risk, high reward trade. Started to see a pop after hours, which was the news that are kind of covering up that delisting, saying they're not going to get delisted. Awesome. Got it. In my opinion, right? As long as we hold this 17, 19 area, this is worth a high risk equity play. I think this can squeeze. Just to keep it simple. Short interest is super high. If they don't get delisted and they somehow cover up that bad news and turn it into something good, I can see this trading back into 40, 50, right? So this is speculative, high risk, high reward. Come Monday, I'm going to enter if it's in this 2017 area. My stop loss can be below 15. Right, so if you're looking at this from a risk to reward standpoint, let's say my average is 19, I'm risking $4 here. My target is at least 40, right, which is a $20 move. That puts us at a 5R trade minimum. If this gets squeezed in, we could really see 50, 60, 70, 80, maybe even 100. So the risk to reward there is there if they can cover up like I expect they do. If not, that's fine. I take a loss. It is what it is. But I do think SMCI can have some value. Especially if we get back above 20, that's squeeze territory, so keep that on watch. Nvidia, I don't really want to talk too much about because it has earnings. We'll discuss that later in the week. What else do we have here? Coin we already talked about. Absolutely love Coin. Tesla we talked about. Love Tesla. Affirm, that's the top swing watch for the week ahead. Absolutely looks beautiful. Crypto. We'll talk about crypto. Crypto. Wow, XRP. This is one I kind of regret not buying. It's up 100. Check this out. 160% in 2 weeks. It's back above $1. Back above $1. And if you notice, this happens all the time. Right? Once here, twice here. 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times. These kind of pops happen all the time. You just gotta time them, which is the hard part. But I mean, yeah, crypto in general, man. I'm bullish as fuck on. You guys know that. It's been that way for months. It's been that way for years. A lot of people like to say, "Oh, I did this, I did that." Shut the fuck up. Right? There's very few people who put their money where their mouth was. I was one of them, and I'm super proud about it, right? Like super proud about it. I'm up 1.2 million. Like, who else can do that? You see people post on Instagram, "Oh, I should have done this, I should have done that, I couldn't get money and I couldn't done that." Shut the fuck up and sit back and enjoy the ride. The fuck y'all do, man. That one guy, man, I give major kudos to him. I didn't figure out who he was until the crypto stuff, but last weekend I looked and he was pretty much on the same case I was. That Chris Johnson guy. He was pretty much balls deep as same way I was, except obviously he had a lot more in it than I did. He's got like 10 million. I don't have that much. I only put 600K in, but still, 10 million, that's fucking insane. But yeah, XRP, I mean, that's XRP. I don't really trade anything other than Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. But ADA, this was one I owned this back. I checked my Uphold account. I owned Cardano at 1.8. That's insane. I would have been down like 90%. But I mean, just look at this chart. Look at the power of crypto, man. Look at that. It's up fucking 160% in 12 days. It's just people don't get it, man. People don't get it. But Ethereum, I think, looks absolutely amazing. If you're not in and you want to get in, you could grab starters at 3,000. If it pulls back into 2,800, just add more. That's what I would do with Ethereum. Like, to be honest, you could just buy it now. I see Ethereum at 4,000 plus very soon. Bitcoin, I personally wouldn't buy it at 90K, but I would start adding on dips into 80, 72, 65. Every single one of these points I would add. Bitcoin pulls back to 80, grab some. 72, grab some. 60, grab some. But I'm not much of a buyer here at 90. I'm still holding my full position. It's very hard, I tell you that. Solana, I mean, this chart's self-explanatory, right? I told you guys literally a million times, buy Solana 120, buy Solana 125, buy Solana at 120, buy Solana at 125, 130, and now you guys are DMing me saying, should I buy it now when it's at 240? Why didn't you buy it at 120? My question, right? It's up over 100% now. Why? I don't understand. I don't understand. You guys can go back and replay the lives from this, say for example, January last year, February last year, March of last year. I literally told you guys to buy Solana on every single dip into 120 and 125. Every single time. And for any of you guys that attest to these lives, comment in the chat. You guys know I live after live, week after week, told you guys. I even went as far in telling you guys, hey, put money in your brokerage, right? Expect a dip here in a few weeks, a month. Just make sure you have money ready, right? Like I didn't ask anything from you guys. I wasn't asking you guys to send me money. I was just simply giving you guys a heads up. Hey, have money ready, whatever you can afford, whether it's $1, whether it's 100, whether it's 1,000,000. Don't miss the train, right? Don't miss the train. Someone said cap. Okay, so let's Julian, right? How many of you guys have attended a live and through this period and heard me say it on multiple occasions? Not just heard me say it, but watch me buy it live. Now, Julian, you want to make jokes and troll, you're going to be the butt of the joke. Every single time. Every single time. Every single time. Doge is absolutely crazy. But, yeah, I should have probably bought some of this. This was kind of a no-brainer now that I think about it. Doge and Elon. You just can't bet against Elon. Any fucking thing that has to do with Elon, don't bet against him. It's that simple. Like, you can't bet against Elon. You gotta better chance parachuting with no parachute, right? Like just don't bet against Elon. And to be honest, this was my fuck up. I should have bought some. Like with the election and Elon, this was a no-brainer. No-brainer. I mean, this fucker, this Dogecoin is up 400% in 2 months. 2 months. 2 months. 2 months. That's crazy. In my opinion, right? If you want a high-risk entry, enter Doge now. That's a high-risk entry. I'm not going to lie. I FOMO'd into it like 3 days ago, but it's a pure FOMO entry, right? I mean, we're buying it after it's up 200%, so of course it's a FOMO entry. But this is a beautiful break and retest. I just put it in 2,000, so it's nothing crazy. But yeah, I bought Doge like 2 days ago in Robinhood, 3 days ago. If it goes to 50 cents, awesome. If it goes to $1, awesome. But I think it's worth it just to not miss out. You know what I mean? It's kind of forming a beautiful flag here. It's a FOMO buy for me. I don't know too much about Doge, but I know not to bet against Elon. And so I posted it as well the other day. I entered Doge, but my average is not that good. It's like 0.36. If we break 0.34, I'll probably stop out. But yeah, I think it's worth it for a high risk hold. If it goes to $1, that's fucking great. You're up 300%. Yeah, so that's what I would do. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. I mean, if you're not in crypto, I mean, this is the thing, man. I'm going to break it down to you for the way that I think about it. Whether you guys want to hear it or not, you need to hear it. I'm going to say this time and time again. There was a point in time where I had cash, right? Nothing but cash. I didn't have a bank account. I didn't have anything. This was before I went to prison. I had nothing. My cash was worthless, right? There was not much I could do with my cash in a positive manner, right? If I went to a bank, I put it in the bank, guess what? They're going to question me on how I got it and when I got it, right? Crypto is freedom, right? I want you guys to understand that. The money in your bank is losing value on a day-to-day basis, right? Inflation, dollar goes down. Got you. Dollar cheeseburger is no longer $1. Dollar sweet tea is no longer $1. Milk is no longer 80 cents a gallon. Nothing. Gas, your shirt, your clothes, your everything. So as prices go up, obviously that dollar is losing value. Bitcoin, for example, look at it, right? When you have something of a caliber to where the elites, right? We're talking about people worth billions and trillions of dollars, can move money in seconds and no one knows about it. Obviously there's an address, right? But no one knows who's behind it. Say for example, right now I sent $10 million. I can do it in 5 minutes, right? If I went to the bank and said, hey, I want to buy a watch, right? I'm going to have to send a wire. I'm going to have to write down what it's for. But if I go buy a watch with crypto, guess what? It's that, right? I can send 50K, 60K, 70K, 80K, 90K. It's about yours. You having access to it. Like using, brokerages like Coinbase, all that's cool. But if you really want to have access to your money, buy a ledger, right? You have real access to your coins, right? A lot of people like to say it's not your coin unless you have a ledger. Then it becomes your coin, right? So, majority of my crypto is on a ledger, which makes it mine, right? That's completely mine. No one can take it from me. No, nothing, right? If I want to send every dollar I have, I can send every dollar I have, right? It's decentralized, and that's the important part about it, is having access to your money and not losing value, right? It doesn't matter. Take away the chart, right? Take away the chart. It doesn't matter. Take away the chart, right? Your money's sitting in your bank. You're getting 2, 3, 4, 5% a year, right? Even if Bitcoin does, let's say, 10% a year, which it usually, just look at the chart, right? You know how many times people said it was going to zero? Bitcoin's up over 60,000% since its inception, right? Probably closer to 700,000% because TradingView doesn't go back that far. But people at 20K said Bitcoin can't go higher. People at 2,000 said Bitcoin was going to zero, right? People at 60,000 said Bitcoin can't go higher. People at 17,000 2 years ago said Bitcoin was going to zero. People at 90K are telling everybody that Bitcoin can't go higher, right? Now, ask yourself, right? Ask yourself, over a 20-year period, you've heard the same thing, different price. Same people saying Bitcoin can't go higher at 90K are the same people that said Bitcoin can't go higher at 60, 20, 5, 10, can't go over 1,000. And it's going to continue to do it. It's not going anywhere, right? It's being adopted worldwide on a day-to-day basis. It's spreading like wildfire, right? You see Bitcoin ATMs everywhere. Stores are starting to accept it. Even the government, especially now with Trump in office, he hired the Coinbase CEO as the Secretary of Treasury or something of that nature. I can't remember exactly what it was. But as it moves in the direction it's moving, watch what happens, right? Watch what happens. I thought Bitcoin 100K, pigs were going to fly first, right? What changed my mind was seeing the world around me, right? When I started meeting people of higher caliber, right? You see people on Instagram making $1 million a month. That's awesome. When you start hanging around people that make $1 million a day and you talk to them, right? And they tell you, hey, this is how I move money. This is how I store my money, right? You start to see a different perspective. Right? When I talk to somebody that's making $1 million a month, you know what they do? They keep it in their bank account. They buy a nice house. They have a couple nice cars. Say, for example, me, right? I make a couple $100,000 a month. Awesome. Cool. Got it. What do I do with my money? I do nothing as I should with my money as the people who really get money. Making $1 million a day, $2 million a day, $3 million a day. It's a totally different ball game, right? And when you get around those type of people, you understand that they want us to think, and I don't like going super deep third eye talks or anything like that, so I'll keep it simple, right? They want you to keep your money in the bank, right? They're using your money to make money. Your money's losing value later down the line. You know what it is, right? Do what's best for you. That's what's best for others, right? That's the bottom line. That's all I was trying to say. I'm not trying to go on a rant. It can get deep, right? I don't want to go super deep. Right? Just buy assets. There you go. Right? Whatever you can afford. Right? I use crypto as my savings account if that means anything to you. If something were to happen and I need to pull money out of my bank account, I'm broke. But I have crypto. That's it. But yeah, man. I'll you guys a giveaway. Hopefully you guys enjoyed tonight's live. Let's get into that giveaway and then we'll go ahead and call it a night. Let's get it. Let's get it. And it's so funny, man. I know you guys remember this. I used to talk about crypto all the time. When I used to live trade, somewhere else. And it's so funny because everybody, bro, crypto this, crypto that, crypto's not real, crypto's this, crypto that. And it's the same motherfuckers that'll put 50, 60,000 into an Apple stock, right? And make 20% in a year and be happy about it. But now that Bitcoin's 90,000, they're typing out, oh, I should have bought Bitcoin, I should have bought that. Yeah, woulda, shoulda, couldas don't make you money. They just donate to a foundation that is non-fundable. Non-fundable. There's no funds there. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Doesn't get you far. Keyword's gonna be crypto. Let's get it. Let's get it, let's get it, let's get it. Chris, can my level of skill be achieved by? I'm the most average person you'll ever meet. There's nothing special about me. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Nothing special about me. The only thing special about me is my drive, my determination, my ability to not give up, my ability to show up every single day, rain, sleet, snow, or shine, whether I don't feel good or anything like that. I've done it for years. Discipline, self-control, and patience. That's the only thing that makes me different. Everybody has the same 24 hours. If you can walk, you can talk, you're healthy, there's no excuse. Zero. This day and age, there's so many ways to make money. There's so many ways to take that initiative to be better, whether it's a partner, whether it's a father, whether it's a son, whether it's a daughter, whether it's a girlfriend, whether it's a boyfriend. There's so many ways that you can take initiative to be better. A lot of people don't. And the main reason a lot of times is because of a handheld device called a cell phone. Like I said, I don't want to get too deep into it, but I guarantee you, if you didn't live on your phone and you started to have a realistic perspective of life, of what you could and couldn't be doing, not being limited by what you believe from social media, your life would be a lot better. All right, let's get it. Good luck, everybody. Desi the Great. I'm 99% sure that's a mentee. 99% sure. Sure. Yeah, man, Instagram is crazy, man. Crazy place. Crazy place. The bottom line is, guys, like, if you want to do better, you got to be better. Nice. Shout out to my man Desi. Shout out to my man Desi. Let me send this over to Dom real quick. Alright. I guess we can do one more, why not? But yeah, man, I believe in each and every one of you guys. It's just, you gotta believe in yourself. That's the big thing. You gotta believe in yourself. Everybody is capable of achieving anything that anybody achieved before, or something no one's achieved before. But you can't do the same day every day and expect different results. Nothing changes if nothing changes. If yesterday wasn't a good day, learn from yesterday to make today a better day. A lot of people make excuses, right? They say, oh, I'm going to do something tomorrow. I'm going to do something next week. Just imagine the amount of progress you could have if you didn't procrastinate. Everybody says, oh, I'm going to wait till the new year to do this, or I'm going to wait till the new year to do that. Imagine if you started doing what you needed to do now, the progress you would have into the new year, or even tomorrow, or even next week, or even the next month, or even the next year. If you did what you were supposed to do at the time you were supposed to do it, which is on a day-to-day basis, just striving to be 1% better, whether it's not eating out, whether it's not spending on those subscriptions, whether it's not going out to eat, whether it's not buying the shoes that you don't need, whether it's whatever the case may be, just doing what you need to do, that you know you need to do to become a better person or a better father, like I said, or daughter, son, whatever the case may be. If you just did it, it'd be a different story. But a lot of people don't like being uncomfortable. They like being comfortable, and that's their problem. Yeah, we'll do one more. Why not? A lot of people just look for like one big win, right? They're looking for like a life-changing win. Like, if you're waiting for a life-changing win, it's a never-ending battle, right? Whether you're waiting for like one big trade to make your life, or you're waiting for one big business deal, or you're waiting for those base hits to add up. Like, say for example, right? What helped me, whether you guys care or not, I'm gonna share it because you probably need to hear it. Setting small wins up. right? Waking up, making your bed, eating healthy, right? Doing things to make yourself feel better, because if you feel better, you perform better. If you look good, you feel good, right? That's the big thing. Setting yourself up throughout the day to be better, right? Like taking advantage of the 24 hours you have, right? If you go to your phone usage, I guarantee you majority of you guys scroll on Instagram for multiple hours a day, but then you'll say that you don't have time to do X, Y, or Z. You have time. You just don't devote your time to what you need to be focused on, right? Or a lot of you guys are working strenuous hours and you get off and you're like, oh, I'm tired. Then you must not want it that bad, right? There was a point in time where I was working little 8, 10, 12-hour days, my lawn care business, get off bloody knuckles, sweating, freezing cold. I would do what I needed to do. Chart at the night, get up in the morning, right? I would do what I needed to do no matter what. Why? Because that's how bad I wanted it, right? You got to do what you got to do when you got to do it. That's the bottom line. 2025, let's go. 2025. 2025 is the key word. 2025. 2025. Let's go. But it takes time, man. Like a lot of people want that instant gratification, which was me, right? I always love, I still do. I love instant gratification. But anything fast usually doesn't last. You want that longevity. You want that positivity. And in order to do so, you just got to do it, at the end of the day. A lot of people don't like boring, but sometimes boring's the best. But yeah, man, regardless if you guys won or not tonight, I appreciate every single one of you guys taking time out of your Sunday to come kick it. Hopefully you guys get some value from this in one shape or form, excuse me. And yeah, man, good luck to Skylar, another mentee. Let's fucking go. Hey, man, I love it. Back-to-back mentees tonight. It's not rigged, I promise. It's not rigged. Tonight's the mentees' night to shine. Of course, man. Of course. I appreciate every single one of you guys for showing up tonight. Especially Sunday, 9 p.m. It means a lot, man. You guys know I do this for you guys. I do this for you guys. This is the thing. A lot of people are like, why do you do it? You don't make money from it. The thing is, I get something better than money, right? I get a peace of mind. I know that I helped one of you guys in one way, shape, or form, whether it was a trade that made you money for this upcoming week, something I said that might have sparked something deeper to make you change something in your life. That's what matters to me. And same reason I live trade every day for free, right? Excuse me, my reward is opening my DM saying, hey, I made $800 today. I can pay my rent. Or I learned this today and it helped me become a better trader. Or you did this today and it helped me do this. Or that trade today helped me do that. Like, that is my reward, right? You guys all know easily. And I maybe one day I will, right? I don't have a public Discord, but maybe one day I will, right? And that's the reward for me, right? I trade, I make money. I have my lawn care business. I'm not in a position to where I want to sacrifice anything for anything else. But yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, guys, appreciate every single one of you guys for tuning in tonight. I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. Hopefully you guys enjoyed tonight's live. And yeah, man, see majority of you guys tomorrow. Again, appreciate every single one of you guys. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your night. I will see you guys bright and early tomorrow. Manifesting a bright green week for everyone. You guys get some rest. And I'll see you guys in the morning. Peace, everybody.